And hello, everyone. Welcome to the first stream after I more or less recovered from my sickness. So, a forward warning, I'm still having a lot of coughs. I still have absolutely clogged nose. So, if gonna be looking disgusting, sounding disgusting, or coughing disgusting, I'm sorry in advance, but you know what you're gonna be signing for. So, what are we doing today? Well, we're starting today by saying a huge thanks to the moderating team because, as you guys well know, this channel is not just run by me. Yes, I am the face, I am doing the videos and everything, but a lot of the parts about the community, making sure that the communication in comment section is civilized, that it's pleasant for us to go in there and read it through, to participate in Discord if you want to get all of the news about Ukraine, even without my participation, without my videos. You can easily do that on Discord that is fully moderated and run by our moderating team. So please join me to give a hand to the moderating team. Thank you guys so much. Without you, this channel would not be as good as it is now. So today's video, I wanted to focus a lot on your questions, guys. In the last two streams that I did a couple of topics that I needed to talk about, and I did talk about these topics, but I also got carried away very much into a lot of the sideway talks, and I didn't really answer a lot of questions. So this one, I'm hoping I will answer as many questions as I can. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to continue speaking until my voice disappears. Or we're going to try to do it whatever we can within the next an hour and a half-ish or so. So I hope you guys are doing well. We start by talking a little bit about the kind of the OP, the main discussion that I wanted to have kind of to start off today is the state of the Russian military. Now, there has been some new data that came out and has been accumulated. And that data is pretty interesting. So what are we seeing this? So there is this guy by the name of Andrew Perpetua, and he is pretty amazing, incredible analyst. He basically watches every single piece of drone footage or video or whatever, and then he counts what kind of equipment was hit and by what that equipment was hit, whether it was Ukrainian, Russian, and so on. And he and his team have been maniacally obsessed specifically with that aspect of war, and in that sense it's pretty amazing. So his information that he's gathering is also been used for the analysis purposes. So in this chart over here, you should be able to see it. So in this chart over here, you can see the distribution of the targets, which is specifically for Russian losses, and you can see the distribution of targets with regards to what was specifically hit. And the things that we need to look up, the colors. So the top color, I believe it is the surveillance and comms. Then the yellow one, the big yellow one, we're looking at the right side of the chart right now because this is the latest one. That's the civilian ones. And then we go deeper into the tanks, trucks, infantry fighting vehicles, ATVs, and so on. So what we need to kind of acknowledge is the increased capacity of use of the Russian by the Russian military of use of the civilian trucks and vehicles. And what this chart tells us, right? So let's pick. How do we read this chart, right? Because it's very confusing. There's a lot of colors. So how do we try to read it? Well, my proposal is let's pick something like tanks. It's a green color at the bottom, and we can kind of follow through. You know, what was the tank losses like over the time? And we see that, roughly speaking, the tank losses are pretty much adequate. Yes, there has been like a little bit more seemingly increase of losses in the middle of what is it? It is the 2024. So this is, I believe, year 2023 to 2024. So this is the whole year, last year. So it's not like for the whole war. But during this last year, we see in the middle of the year there has been more losses, and I'm looking right now only on the green part, right? We're looking only on the green part. And then by now, we see the decrease in losses of that green proportion, but generally speaking, they're still being lost. So what this chart tells me specifically is that the biggest increase, the biggest reason why the bars go so high is not more by the losses that Russia is sustaining due to the tanks or due to the armored vehicles or due to the any kind of other military vehicles altogether, but it is more due to increase of that yellow proportion. And the yellow is the civilian ones. So if we assume that that is true, if we truly see that the yellow is the main driver of the increase of use by the Russians, then the question that comes out looking at this, so if the proportion of decrease of military is the same, yet civilian is increasing, why is that? And the answer, in my perspective, is very, very simple. It's because Russia is literally running out of their equipments, the storage equipments, but more importantly, that they're running of the capacity to release more of that military equipment. So their production capacity is capped. We see the fact that because Russia had a lot of the Soviet vehicles, like armored vehicles, tanks, and so on, and it raised a lot of the military capacity to get those Soviet vehicles to be deployed at the front lines. By the fact that we see that Russia has been increased use of civilians, we see the desire to have that bigger capacity of vehicles on the battlefield is there. So desire to use mechanized forces is present on the battlefield, and if we can see by the chart the way that it goes, that the desire is arguably increasing. But the fact that they're not increasing the deliveries of the armored vehicles means only one thing. Either they don't have any, or their capacity is capped, or both of those. And I'm going to argue for both of those. Because the capacity, cap of capacity, we've talked about extensively. We talked about the fact that the decrease in the Russian stockpiles, or the capacity of production of Russian vehicles and the numbers that are being produced by Russian media and Russian shills are unrealistic, because what they're doing is they're essentially taking good vehicles that have been stored in the Russian vehicle yards, military vehicle yards, and they're just putting them on the battlefield. And that is actually low effort renovation, so to say, to release of these vehicles to the Russian military. But even with that low effort deliveries to the Russian military, we see that they are not sustaining the necessities of the Russian military. Right now, Russia is advancing on the front line, but they're advancing very, very slow. And we countless times we discussed. If you want to know why slow, ask a question. I will answer that specifically on that question. But if you follow this, you know that Russia is advancing very slow. I did a great video during the Christmas, specifically talking every argument about why Russia is advancing slow. And the fact that they're not able to increase their mass of technical military vehicles and have to supplement it with the civilian ones is telling that they're just struggling. Because we hear supposedly that Russia is investing additional funds into their factories. So we would then expect, is like, if there is an increased amount of production in the factories, then we should see increased output. Yet this output doesn't come. It's still the same. So we see the same output. And that means only one thing. That means that now getting the vehicles from the stockpiles to the battlefield is becoming harder and harder and harder. So it means that for Russia to field the vehicle right now, it's not already good enough to just kind of get it off the storage file, paint it over, and then it's there. That's not anymore happening. So as we were expecting, I'm going to wrap this up. As I said, like, it's going to be short today. As we were expecting, right now Russia is trying to readjust itself to the new realities. They're seemingly trying to build this army that is based solely on motorized vehicles. They still have some, and this is what are important, is like while their tempo of delivering armored vehicles to the front line is slowing down, it is not dead yet, and they're still going to have enough, I believe, output and production to sustain at least for half a year, especially because they're also trying to substitute some of that by the use of the civilian vehicles. But we see this adaptive new Russian tactic of using non-armored civilian vehicles on the front lines as much as they can. The question that you might ask is, why is then Ukraine having trouble fighting these guys? And the answer is that Ukraine just doesn't have enough resources. For example, a lot of people that follow me don't know that Ukraine has a shortage of machine guns. Did you know about that? Because that's a very prominent thing. If you've ever talked with like actual experts and so on, they say that in Ukraine there is a big shortage of machine guns. Yes, they have like Kalashnikovs, they have the some kind of M16s, but like some kind of Western weapons, but they have a big shortage of machine guns. No joke. Secondly, Ukraine is having shortage of field artillery systems. Mostly because of the ammunition requirements. So Ukraine can use only limited number of mortars or field artillery units because they have a major shortage of those. There's just not enough production. So with Russia, they're using these civilian tactics that could be easily stopped if Ukraine had enough mortar artillery and enough machine guns. You know, it's like, I don't need to explain you why, right? Then that would be solved. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see as Russia will devolve their armor park to be more resembling a civilian-based format. It increases the efficiency and effectiveness for Ukraine to use these simpler weapons, so to say, rather than complex ones. So they would not need like something like a javelin, right? You know, having a javelin against a loaf is an overkill. So that, for that matter, like something like FPV drones, machine guns, and artillery, like the field artillery, I mean mortars, that would be the best thing ever. So it's going to be interesting to see how Ukraine will respond and how the allies of Ukraine will respond. And my hope is that because these are simpler to produce, we're going to see a faster increase of production of these units. Right now, there was no that big of a drive to do so, so to say, because there were bigger fish to fry with trying to supplement the shortage, for example, of Ukrainian high caliber artillery rounds and so on. So that's kind of like a bit of a talk. And to kind of wrap this talk up, I have a video for you here from the Russian news sources. So you're gonna watch this. I hope you will enjoy this one. I translated this for you, but it's gonna wrap it up, and we hope we're gonna have a good laugh.
Left the battle. The steel dome above the BMP turret is complemented by metal cables and bundles resembling thickets of bushes and wire on the sides. This is an essential protection element against any...
Yes, so they put like a lot of these wires sticking out of this infantry fire vehicles, and yes, that's the anti-tank mine that is just welded to the side of the vehicle. You are absolutely correct.
Against enemy attack drones. Fighters of the southern troop grouping are pushing back the enemy along the entire front line, using all types of weapons. The BMP is moving forward. Alexander Katsub, Alexander Malishev, Vesti Artyomov's direction.
You see, Russian media is saying everything is great. The developments of Russian technology are hitting the new high. So incredible, absolutely incredible. And they're reporting on this with a straight face. It's like, yes, that's our guys going here. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you unweld the mine on tank, you can deny the enemy point. Yes, it's incredible. I don't know why this mine is there for. Like, to be honest, I'm out of ideas. I'm pretty sure there is like some good idea because, I mean, at least some idea must be there, right? Because otherwise, why would you weld a anti-tank mine on a side of your vehicle? Is there a mine? Yes, you didn't see? Look, 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 look. So this is this tree branch pattern. Let's put it this way, and then this is a Russian anti-tank mine. This circle. Let's see if I can find. Let me see. Russian anti-tank mine. Yeah, there we go. See? The T72. This one. See? It's the same thing. I don't know why. Don't ask me. Seriously, yes. Yeah. Primitive reactive armor. Yeah. I mean, like, look, like, as a reactive armor, argument for reactive armor. Okay. So, Georgie, but this is reactive armor, right? But my question is, like, if it's a reactive armor, why it's there, like, just in one piece? It's just there in one place. You know, everything else is just like branches, whatever shit. And then there's like, oh, by the way, let's put this one mine here. Because I've seen like how reactive armor is played out. It's like it's laid out in these boxes all over the main armored places. But like here is just like one lonely mine in the side of the vehicle. Jesus. Okay. Anyway, like yeah, I'm not an engineer, so potentially I just don't know what I'm talking about for sure. Anyway, guys, I'm ready for your questions. Let's just talk about this. But it's a kind of like a great cherry on top of the discussion about the fact that Russia is not having a good time with their equipment, and that it is incredibly short. Okay, maybe we're gonna finish today quite early, and then it's gonna be a nice short video because there is not a lot of questions. So Peter is asking, and I cannot pronounce your last name, so I'm gonna stick with Peter. Peter, have the Russians started pulling military resources that are defending their borders, not adjacent? Just curious, as a sign of weakness in Russia. Yes. One of the major counter arguments against the fact that Russia has been responding to invade Ukraine as a response to the NATO enlargement was specifically the fact that Russia has pulled incredible amounts of units from Kaliningrad and from the borders of the Baltics and Finland. So Russia pulled incredible amounts of units and weapons from specifically those border areas, the NATO countries, which indicates only one specific thing, is like that Russia knows that NATO is not a threat, that NATO is not going to invade Russia. So they did a lot and they pulled a lot. Like it's going to be a long list to talk about what Russia really did. Ali, do you see the post I DM'd you about Patriot missiles from Israel being sent to Ukraine? So with Israel, I am a little bit hesitant with any news that are coming out from Israel because there is a lot of pro-Ukrainian guys in Israel, and they have been making strives to try to pressure the government to help Ukraine in their fight. But Israeli government has been very reluctant at doing anything publicly. And there has been speculations that they have been doing certain things non-publicly. But even after years passing by since some of those speculations, we have little to no proofs of that. So far, I haven't seen any concrete proof that Israel is doing something for Ukraine or not doing for Ukraine. I cannot say other way. Angelandro Sol, funniest thing I've seen today, Scott Ritter is turning on Trump for his Russian playmasters, lol. Was funny from a former Trump psychopath. Yeah, but I would like, again, I would be very careful with Trump and what he does and what he doesn't do and so on, because it's like, I think Trump is, let's put it lightly, is a man of his feelings, or how other people described it. He acts based on what the last person that exited his cabinet says. So that's why I'm kind of like, as I said, like I'm treating Trump as, how do you say, if he does something good, it's good, and I'm going to praise him for that. But I'm not putting a lot of value, and I'm not putting a lot of positive expectations into Trump and his administration. If you do, good for you. I'm just voicing my position. Because the reality is that he is the president of the United States. I know a lot of people here don't like Trump. Like, a lot of people really, really hate Trump. And I understand, and you have the right to do so. What I'm saying is that despite me, you, and everyone else liking or not liking Trump, he's still an acting president of the United States, and he's going to be doing things that can help Ukraine or harm Ukraine. So I'm trying to see like where we can see some kind of optimistic outcomes for Ukraine, and I'm going to definitely explain to you outcomes that could be really bad for Ukraine as well. Awesome HPT, as a Danish citizen, how do you feel about the whole Greenland situation? Donald Trump should be threatening Americans' enemies, not America's allies, especially now. So, awesome HPT, I'm not a Danish citizen. I'm a Danish resident, so I still haven't gotten my citizenship. I can apply, but I haven't still. As for the Greenland situation, there is a bit of a split in the Danish society, because a lot of people in Denmark do not consider that they own Denmark, that they own Greenland. Now, there are a lot of the more of a conservative, or people that have these instincts of like, no, this is part of the Danish kingdom and it should be part of the Danish kingdom. But it's not everyone. There's a lot of people in Denmark that consider Greenland to be their own thing. And Mette Frederiksen pretty much said so much herself that that it is for Greenland to decide what they want, who they want, and so on. There's actually a lot of people that really see Greenland as an autonomous country within the Kingdom of Denmark, sort of like a Canada within the how do you say, the Commonwealth of UK. But in the same way, there is also some Danish people that are very much against that. They are very violently also always voicing their opinions, stating that no, the Greenland is supposed to be like part of Danish kingdom. It's been there for so long and so on. But overall, the general narrative is that the Greenland is obviously not for sale. I think that's why, like, let's put it this way. That's why when Trump approaches like someone like Mette Frederiksen, our Prime Minister of Denmark, to ask to sell Greenland, that proposition just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just baffling. Because Greenland is not even controlled by Denmark, so to say. It's a self-governing province. So if Greenland would want at some point to be essentially becoming American, I mean, there would be people in Denmark that say, yeah, sure, why not? But that needs to be a democratic process. There has been pretty much unanimous response on any kind of military actions. So a military action against Denmark and Greenland, that would be bad. That definitely raised a lot of eyebrows, and a lot of more sharp questions have started to being asked inside of country. Whether or not, like, how can we be prepared? How can we make sure that if there is that kind of invasion, how we can make sure that the cost for the invader is significant if they try doing that, and so on. But if we're talking about economic pressure, then the economic pressure against Denmark is, to be honest, is a little bit mute. Because, like, if Denmark is exporting something, it's because they're good with this. Like, there's a lot of things that Denmark is doing world stage, and especially trending with US, there's little substitutes for, like Ozempic, or Legos, or mask services, and so on. And moreover than that, Denmark is a part of the European Union. The whole point of European Union single market is so you cannot really set one country and act against that country. It's a common negotiating power. So there are abilities for Denmark and Danish companies to work around this if they will be hit by tariffs from the United States. That's the whole point of the European single market, because Europe consists of a lot of small countries. So we created this European single market where we trade in common goods and services, but there's also like political regulations on that single market. So if one of the country in the single market is targeted, the whole single market can act and help and find a way to relieve that pressure. It's specifically designed so no third party can just decide to poke on any 1 week within that single market. So there is a bit of unease because people obviously don't want to be on the receiving end on this. And there is a lot of resentment, but there has been a lot of resentment to Trump in general in Denmark, even previously. So let's just say Trump, by coming into office, he didn't make any friends in Denmark. No more Ozempic, make America fat again. Yeah, true. Yeah, Ozempic, yeah. I didn't know that it was Danish. Yes, yes. In Denmark, fun fact, in Denmark, we actually had arguably, when Ozempic just came out, we had arguably people arguing economically that we should have two economic evaluations of our country. So a country that is evaluated with the producer of Ozempic, the Novo Nordisk, and then the GDP of the country evaluated without the Novo Nordisk, because because Novo was producing like something wild, like a 1 or 2% of GDP, like something completely ridiculous. It's like crazy. So yeah, it's the Novo Nordisk is the largest corporate in Europe. I didn't know that actually. Yeah, probably it is. Yeah. Like Denmark is a small country, but we have some really, really big players, really, really big ones. Like Europe doesn't have a lot of transnational companies, right? There's not that many. Like we don't have our big Facebooks or big shitters or whatever. But Denmark is one of those few countries that does have those world level like Mask, like Novo Nordisk, like stuff like that, the big guns. So Denmark is no shitter. Okay. Yalmar, do you think the rest of Europe should send troops to Greenland to help protect for the upcoming North American terrorist act? I don't think Trump will act on this. Like I still think that his modus operandi for the most part is economic. I still feel that there's going to be tariffs. So I don't think that it is being taken seriously right now. Let's put it this way. And like, look, if Trump does this, then there's going to be a lot of court rulings afterwards, and no one says that U.S. can even try keeping Denmark, can keep Greenland, and so on. It's a weird topic, and so far it's a bit far-fetched, to be honest. Okay. Grandar Guitar. Has the Ukrainian Air Force been able to affect the frontline in support of mainly air defense systems, Shahid missiles? Wait. So, has the Ukrainian Air Force been able to affect the frontline in support of mainly air defense? Yes, they was, but also Ukrainian. So, what's happening right now? I'm going to tell you a little bit. And there was a question about F-16 somewhere, so that's the answer to that one as well. So recently, Russians have been reporting that there has been sightings of F-16s in the Ukrainian strike missions. They have been seeing F-16s fly closer to the front line. Now, Ukrainian command General Syrsky stated that he will not be risking even single F-16 until he knows that the situation is fully controlled. Well, it's obviously not totally possible because this is war, so everything is at risk. But what Ukraine has been doing so far is they have been using the Soviet strike aircrafts, and they have been using F-16s to protect them and clear the way. So F-16s right now are used in a lot of sorties that Ukraine is doing with the regular strike aircrafts all across Ukraine and border regions, with the cover of F-16s. So F-16s are not flying only as a anti-Shahed, anti-missile systems, they're also now participating in sorties. Claude Genrich, isn't everything out of focus somewhat? Could be my eyes. They are shit. Am I out of focus, guys? Tell me if I'm out of focus. Georgie says, keep up the great work, G. Absolutely. Thank you, Georgie. Wait, is that in my picture? Nice. Also, you misspelled my name. Andrews 2025. Are North Korean regrouping while waiting for reinforcements, or are they gone for good? Regrouping. So North Korea is in here in this war only for a specific reason. They're getting their experience, they're getting their tactics and so on. So they will get through this, how would I say, through this experience gaining operations. They will get a lot of forces through. They are especially interested in training their officers. So when you look at the North Korean forces, what you need to understand is what they're doing. Because what North Koreans are doing, they're training their officer corps. So they are having the officers that are directing these peons that are running towards Ukrainian positions, and we all are cheering and laughing about how easy it is to kill them, which is obviously not, because that's what Ukrainians on the front lines are saying, that no, there is a lot of issues with fighting North Koreans. But the main point that what North Koreans are doing, they're keeping this officer corps trained. So they're going to train some officers, then they're going to rotate them out, and then they're going to bring in new officers, and then they're going to supplement it with some additional meat bags that they will throw at the Ukrainian positions. So the goals of North Koreans is to get experience to fight the South Koreans. And that's what they're doing. The troops that they have is just nonsensical. They don't care. So North Korea is, how do you say, they're achieving their goals. Andrews 2025. Oh no, sorry, that was Cornelis. Drone strikes come closer to Moscow. Do you think they found way to bypass strong air defenses and EW? Well, how do I put it? Russia is big, so even if it has really good air defenses, these air defenses cannot be all places. So the fact that Ukraine is able to put pressure on a lot of the other points of interest for Russia across the country forces the Russia essentially to shrink and shrink and shrink that ring of protection of what Russia can protect. So I definitely know that there have been improvements on the drone technology and long-range striking capabilities of Ukrainians. Plus, the Ukrainian strikes across many Russian targets have forced Russia and strained their anti-air capabilities. I would attribute first and foremost that to the fact that Ukraine can get closer to Moscow, because Moscow is a key target, right? There's never going to be anti-air systems pulled from Moscow. I think we can agree on that. But the fact that that circle is going to be narrowing, I think that's a fair assumption. So for me, that circle narrowing is just an indicator that Ukrainian campaign is successful. Cassius J, I asked you some time ago about your thoughts are with the fail. Okay, I asked you some time ago what your thoughts are. What fails first, period. the Russian economy or military industrial complex or oil exports? Okay. Well, Russian oil exports are inherently tied to the Russian economy. The industrial complex. So let's take it step by step. The most important thing for Putin is the industrial complex. Like, if he cannot fight, he's done. He knows that. Like, so he needs to produce weapons, he needs to produce ammunition. So everything else is secondary. Oil exports is a part of the Russian economy that is critical for the Russian economy. So it's critical for Russia to make sure that the oil exports continue, and they will put a lot of effort to make sure that the oil exports are operational. And Russian economy is, in a large sense, most dependent on the fact that there is oil exports that transfer the money to the industrial complex to produce weapons. So, in your question, I feel that the weakest thing, the thing that Russia will be cutting off, because like Russia has been cutting fat, the war chest that have been accumulated so far. Now I made a whole argument video that the war chest is now empty and Russia is out of resources. So now they will start cutting essentially some skin off. They're going to be start cutting things off that hurts. And they will, first and foremost, will be cutting the non-essential parts of the economy. So they're going to be cutting public benefits, public services. There's still plenty of things to cut. Russia still has a lot of money. They will be cutting like non-government funds and so on. So Russia will be focusing and centralizing that whole economic thing, getting the oil out of the country, getting the money in and sending the money to the industrial production. That is, everything else is secondary. And if we're talking about like some kind of local civil Russian population, that's like third level even down. That's the first thing that's gonna count. They're not even gonna notice that. So when you hear something like Russian civilian savings have been frozen and Russians cannot take any savings out, that's going to be like an indicator, oh, Russia started cutting already, you know. So that's what's going to be cut first. As for what to collapse, I think we're a bit too far from that. Economics are a lot more resilient than that. But I also made an argument that Russian economy can collapse very, very fast because of the way how the dictators work. Because let's be very clear. The economy that I just described is an African junta style economy, right? So it's like where there is like this junta that controls the resources, and then they send out these resources and get the money. That's not really like a proper developed state. When we're thinking about like an African military dictatorship, that's not like a proper running state. So Russian state, if we're talking about whether Russian state economy as we know it right now will collapse, potentially yes. Potentially Russia will devolve to be in that state of junta style government. But whether or not the Russian population will accept it, which I think they will, whether or not the other institutions will accept it, which I think they will, and whether or not there will not be some internal resistance from the army or the civilians or oligarchs to get essentially state contracted to such a low level. Okay. Sparky projects. That mine is dropped into some brackets that are welded. Maybe it's so they can lift it out for use. So a mine that they just carry on top of vehicle so they can just pick it up and just drop it somewhere. I guess it's a possibility, but again, I'm not an engineer. I'm not sure how one mine is really useful. Just me. Some people said it might be a smoke pod still, but at least that's ridiculous. To be honest, like, I don't really think I saw once Russia using smokes. I've seen like hundreds and thousands of videos of Russians fighting. I don't think I saw one where they would use smokes. I saw Ukrainians using smokes. I don't remember Russians using smokes, to be honest. The only smokes that I've seen Russians use is the internal smoke generator on the Russian tanks. So in Russian tanks, they can essentially like there is like a switch which either it starts injecting like gasoline or some other chemicals into the engine of the tank, and then there is like a smoke coming out. Let me see if I can find this one. I can demonstrate. Russian tank smoke. Maybe not. Maybe I cannot find a video. Oh, I found my own video. Nice. It's good that like on search of a Russian tank, my videos come up. It's great. Kerosene. Yeah, okay, maybe kerosene. Yeah. But if you don't know, like that's T72. Is it on T72 Smoke? Oh, wait. Wait. I think I found it. Yeah. Okay, great. So there we go. So as you can see, there is like this is like a tank. I think this is in Poland somewhere, or maybe somewhere else. But there is this exhaust pipe. So and then like the tank starts injecting something, and then it can start producing smoke. So, and it's gonna do it here in a second. Yes, I actually don't know where it's filmed. Engine smoke system. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you see, so it produces this really dense smoke. Yes. That's a T-64. It doesn't matter what it was. It's just like it's a system that is present on the Russian tanks. That one I've seen used in combat, but not like smoke grenades or something. Andrews 2025. Are North Koreans regrouping while waiting for reinforcements, or they gone for good? No, they're not gone for good. Okay. Can you comment on Budanov Talks before summer? I'm hearing mixed info whether this is misinfo or not. So everything that Budanov says, I always divide by two, just because he's in the art of creating narratives. With that said, so if you don't know, like the statement is about the Budanov supposedly in some secret closed-door meeting stating that if before summer Ukraine doesn't enter negotiations, then there's going to be potentially country-threatening actions taking place in Ukraine. So something like that, if I can translate it. Firstly, it's a very vague statement. Secondly, there has been no proper confirmation from it, like it's just been sources and so on. And thirdly, well, there has been a lot of dissentment in the Ukrainian society, and I feel that what is missing from that Budanov statement, and I think that is obscured, is that if nothing changes, right? because I like, right, people are looking at a lot of Ukrainian society and they're like sharing information with me. Oh, Georgie, do you see like a Ukrainian society? There's like more people that want to get some kind of compromise, and they're losing their trust in the Ukrainian armed forces, and I understand their argument, but I also remember the Kursk operation, and you remember like after the Kursk operation, how big of an uplift there was, and reinvigoration of the potential that no, our army can actually do something. So if nothing changes, if indeed Ukraine will go towards the direction that it goes with no proper proper changes, then the situation can start becoming threatening in a sense of what's happening within Ukrainian society and so on. But it also doesn't explain the fact that the things can change. So we'll see about this. Again, so far it's just pure speculation. I think it's an interesting discussion to have, whether or not where Ukraine is right now and what's expected in the future. But I don't think that right now there is something very concrete. Oh, sorry, still hard. Drew Smith, do you think Trump can persuade North Korea to stop sending troops and ammunitions to Russia? No. Jensen Redler, how long do you think the Russian economy can hold out? Pretty long. I hear almost all of the defense industries are forced into enormous debt by the government. They are, but it's a debt to themselves. So what you need to understand is that the defense industry and everything else is the most important things. That thing is going to run until the end. But it's more about what else Russia needs to sacrifice. So when we're talking about the Russian economic collapse, we're talking about Russian civilian sector degrading to a sense that it's not resembling a country anymore, that it's just a factory running on selling oils. Oh. William John, is Ukraine short-sighted? Should they train separately army for 2026, 2027, and most importantly 2028? What? I don't understand your question. Mark Mageira, the Israel reference pertains to the Axios article about the 3 C-17 USF transports of Patriots from Israel to Ukraine via Poland that I tracked last week's article in mod sections of Discord. Oh, I missed that one, sorry. So I will introduce myself. So I don't know what kind of references there was and so on, so I'll need to follow up on this, sorry. Jansen Redler, what exactly is Russia giving North Korea for their artillery vehicle manpower and ammunition? I already explained that experience. Also, it was the reports are that it was Kim that initiated that participation. So it was Kim sucking up to Putin rather than Putin going and begging Kim for help. Give me a second. Oh, sorry, I missed where the question, the jump for me. Okay, there's the Israel reference. Yeah, Whimcycle. What to do if you have a good idea for Ukraine to be able to defend against the missiles? Well, I can tell you like this. There's a lot of people that have a lot of good ideas. And it's nice, if you have a good idea, it would be great to think it through. And what you need to come up with is the things that you need for that idea to be demonstrated that it works. Talk to people that can help you demonstrate that that idea works. Present the documented evidence that it works. And then people maybe will be considering talking to you. Because that's been my experience so far. There's been a lot of people that have been reaching out to me with good ideas. I forwarded a lot of these ideas. And at some point people said like, Georgie, Thank you so much, but we need something more concrete than just good ideas. So best idea that you can do, support our fundraiser for the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Shameless plug of myself, guys. We are doing incredible. By the way, we're already at 115,000. We're already at 115,000. So that's 11 vehicles that are coming to Ukraine for sure. And we are already halfway through to the next one. We actually have some videos for one of the vehicles. We can look at them today. Actually, wasn't this like on YouTube? Give me a second. Maybe it was on the YouTube from the Car for Ukraine. Let's watch it together. Maybe even Ukraine. Car for Ukraine. How was it? How for Ukraine? Was it this one? Yeah. Okay, so they've been deploying the fundraiser that they did with the ATP Geopolitics and Silicon Curtain, and because they've been also gathering, they did like a big fundraiser. So
Money never.
let's see. Why don't I hear anything? Do you guys hear something? Ah, my headphones are off. Sorry.
Everyone.
Copyrighted music. No copyrighted music, please. I will not be able to cut it out.
Everyone.
There we go. No more copyrighted music, please.
Bunch of Shaheds were attacking Ukraine and Lviv, particularly a lot of air raid alerts. And yeah, we are sending more cars. And this one, actually, this fort is going to the unmanned systems forces. And this particular one is gonna A/B test a lot of ways how we can counter Shahed attacks. It's going to be refeeded with a control point and with different drones and with different planes that can hit the Shaheds that are coming. And we thank Ukraine Matters community and Georgie who are actively fundraising. So far, this is already 5th car that we're sending as a part of this campaign, and they already raised over 100,000 euros. So thank you, Georgie and Ukraine Matters community. Similar that we had last week. It also has a bunch of room inside that will be refitted to counter Shaheds. And basically, yeah, the Shaheds cost like 15 or I think like 50,000 euro, and they're gonna spend like 3 to cut one of them.
Yeah, and also there was a recent NAFO delivery of one of our trucks as well. What is it called? NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade. NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade. There we go.
Won the whole friend.
Oh, no. There we go. There was the Jake Bro, Suomi Battalion, Jake Bro, Ukraine Matters. There we go. Third Assault Brigade.
Hello everyone, I'm joined by Roman, 3rd Separate Assault Brigade. Merry Christmas, mate. How are you?
Merry Christmas to you too.
Can I give you a hand?
Oh yes, please, please. It's wonderful. Yeah.
Mate. Yeah, perfect. So, Roman, we've met before a couple of times.
Yes. You're helping a lot.
We're trying. But you're busy. How has it been going?
Everything is changing all the time, and at the same time, nothing has changed. So we work hard to keep our responsibility area. We work hard to keep on other areas.
There's more coming as well.
Yes.
I think in total we're...
Yeah, I told you people, like, when people say, like, Georgie, like, you're laughing too much, how can you laugh about the war? It's like, you haven't talked with the guys from the front lines, like, because humor for a lot of them is the way that they cope with stuff, and a lot of them are very, very hilarious guys, so...
Got 16.
Exactly.
How quickly are you going to use them all?
It all depends. It depends on your enemy. It depends on weather condition. It depends on your mistakes, on your engineering mistakes. It depends on the electronic warfare efforts of your infantry that is also moving, and well, that's the good case, because if they will drop Mavic, then they will get it into the battalions. They will.
Yeah.
It will stay in our hands. But the rule is that we have. If we have, I would say, like 6 Mavics in our foxhole,
Yeah.
then it is very like a panic mode. Not panic mode, but it is really it giving anxiety.
Yeah.
Because it can go so that for a whole week or 2 weeks we do not you lose anything.
Yeah.
But you can lose this in 2 days.
So and like you said, you have friendly electronic warfare fire, right?
Yes, yes.
Everything's
This-
operating on similar frequencies.
Exactly, and you will. I will never ever say anything bad to our infantry guys, who just felt they heard something, they felt anxiety, they switch it on, because this is their lives.
Exactly, mate. And look at these. You're going to get some more patches.
This is beautiful.
The fundraiser was with Ukraine Matters. He's a big YouTuber. You're going to get Kursk is Ukraine, Roman.
Of course, could you say?
And deeper and deeper, Ukraine Matters in a lovely triangle shape. I will let you go and get back into the warmth, mate, because as everyone, and well, they can't see on the camera, right? But there's a lot of very cold-looking people all standing behind there that are trying to look happy, but they're clearly not, mate. So that's one. That's 2. Good luck,
Thanks.
mate. Good to see you. And I hope these serve you well. Thank you
They
very
will.
much.
They will.
And there was actually another one.
I want to thank you, Ukraine Matters, and thanks to your subscribers for this wonderful Christmas gift, for these 9 drones, 6 Pro drones and 3 night vision drones.
And I still don't know how to transform it into Fahrenheit, but believe me,
So this
it
one-
is cold.
What
We
was it?
just have
It was it a Toyota Hilux. So this is the truck.
to transform it into Fahrenheit, but believe me, it is cold. We just had an
Everyone
air
looks
raid alert,
really
but
cold.
we are very motivated, and all because of your support, amazing people, and the community of Ukraine Matters that helped to get a truck for the Ukrainian WHO representatives, our intelligence snipers from Artan. And I'm really happy to be in this
Hey, we support the
Christmas
snipers.
period with a fighter with the name Devil. Is it your call sign?
Devil.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your unit and what are you doing on the front lines?
На війні спочатку 2022 року.
I have been in the war since February 2022. For a year and a half, I was in a foreign legion. There were people from completely different countries with different ideas, with different cultures, but the war in Ukraine has united us all. I have been working in Artan for over a year. I really wanted to get into this unit. This unit performs very specific
so
tasks. I am in a sniper group. I will not say how many of us there are and what tasks we perform. I can only say that after the war, a lot of movies will be made about our unit. I cannot say that we have a weak enemy. Anyone who thinks that we have a weak enemy, then they do not know anything about the enemy. The war consists of many little things. I have an interesting story about this. We had an assault. After the assault, Russians regrouped and started to attack us. We did our job, but the 2 of us had to wait it out at night. We spent the whole night in the trench. Mavic dropped mortar shells on us, and there was heavy shelling. But a small thing saved us, a poncho. If you keep a poncho at the distance of 30 to 50 centimeters from you, it dissipates your heat. And this poncho costs only 30-50 euros, but it saved the lives of 2 snipers. By this, I want to
Yeah, guys, we're saving lives. That's something that you like. You know, we're supporting trucks and everything.
say that these little things can save lives.
Люди розуміли, що від цих маленьких дрібничок це все стоїть. Да.
Thank you so much for saving the world and reminding us that it's not just the war between Ukraine and Russia. It's between many authoritarian regimes like North Korea, China, Iran, and Russia, and all freedom-loving nations. And thank you for being with us, with Ukrainians, and thank you for backing up with details. Every detail matters and saves the life. And these are the patches from us, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to thank Ukraine Matters and its subscribers for their help in purchasing the car, the electronic warfare system, and much more. Thank you, friends. This brings us closer to the victory. Thank you once again. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to heroes.
Yes. So sorry for this a little bit involved, but like, guys, participate. Like this is really important. This is probably the most important. So if you have some disposable income, join up, participate, and let's go save some lives. It's really, really cool. We're not stopping. We're never stopping. We're gonna do more. I have fucking amazing news that I just cannot tell you. It's eating me alive. I have some really, really great news, guys. Like incredible news, like just absolutely stunning. But I cannot tell you because I promised that we will finish the fundraiser first before we do anything else. So anyway, back to the questions, guys. Love you, love you. Thank you so much for the support. It's incredible. All right. Oh my God, my nose is just like running. Antonius Pius, I haven't heard about Ukraine attacking rail transfer centers hubs. There is a critical element, I think, that needs more attention. The problem of attacking rail centers hubs is that, well, I mean, we constantly hear of Russian trains with like oil and ammunition exploding on stations and so on. Like, is it me or is it actually out of focus? I don't know. Is it out of focus or is it just no? It's sorry. It's just my preview is like in quality that is like below potato. But no. So the Ukraine still attacks the trains and so on. The point of attacking train infrastructure is quite hard because Russia has incredible engineering capacity with regards to railways. We've seen Ukraine doing some effort on sabotaging some of the Russian railways, but they are incredible at repairing those railways and building those railways. So it's very hard to do damage that would last a long enough time. So I hope that answers it. Data Relay. Hi, Georgie. Here in America, our media almost never reports on Russia continued invasion of Ukraine. Is it the same in your country? No, it's not the same in my country because I live in Denmark, and Denmark is the biggest supporter of Ukraine, arguably in Europe for sure. One of the biggest support. Let's not put a lot of effort, but it's one of the biggest supporters of Ukraine. So for us, like in Denmark, we have a big sense of justice. So we see what Russia is doing in Ukraine, and the sense of justice just cracks to 11 for a lot of Danes. They just cannot look at this injustice that is happening and just so on. So yeah. Dude Latvia. Listen, you can say dude Latvia, but also in Latvia, LPV is like gaining more popularity. So let's not dude Latvia me. No. That's what, like, yeah, Poland, Estonia. No, guys, I understand. Okay, but so far, Denmark is the biggest supporter GDP per capita of all of the countries. But we're not trying to measure dicks here or pissing competition. Every little bit helps. What I'm saying is in Denmark there is still a lot of support. Like obviously there is a lot of still support in the Baltics and Nordics and so on. I know. Okay. Bonus also with regards to US, you need to understand that in US there's a bit of a shit going down right now. So a lot of people in US are worried of a lot of things on their own plate. So it's I'm really grateful to everyone from US that is still keeping their eyes on Ukraine. Thank you so much, guys. Bonus Pater Familias. Hello, great streams. Do you know if North Korean soldiers crossed the border to Ukraine yet? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's their goal so far. But I don't... well, I mean, like, there has been some special North Korean forces that have been acting in Ukraine. That's been confirmed. Victor Eriksson. Is Ukraine able to motivate young people to go and fight in the war? Yes. But is it enough? Potentially no. I think this is the weakest link for Ukraine that has been so far. I think the communication efforts that Ukraine is doing with their own citizens is quite poor. I think there needs to be improvement, and I've been telling this for like a year now or so. Lotta's helpful suggestions. Why are the fielded numbers of troops so low when compared to the armies of World War II? Ukraine has over 40 million. They should be able to field over 2 million troops. So the answer for Ukraine is, how do you break your resources down? Ukrainian economy is pretty much non-existent. And they're trying to do everything that they can to make sure that the economy is working. To get one military, like, to put it in perspective for you, to get one military person, take them out from the civilian sector, put him in the military, train him, and then equip and sustain him, requires the work of about 7 non-militaries. So when you're stating about why Ukraine doesn't mobilize more, and it can mobilize more, I think the biggest factor is that Ukraine still wants to develop its own independent economy. I think that Zelensky looks at the situation very, very critically. So obviously there can be an argument made that maybe there is not enough training capacity, there is not enough ammunition, weapons, and so on, and that's fair. But I feel that Zelensky, what he wants is he wants to have a country that can work long term. So he's not ready to dedicate everything to war and essentially dooming its economy if Ukraine doesn't get the help from the allies that it needs. Because already now Ukraine doesn't get the help from the allies that it needs. So I think that resource dedication is based on what kind of goals is the general staff is proposing to Zelensky, and that's what they're doing. I hope that makes sense, because I feel Zelensky has a lot of pain for his country, and he is having this vision, which can be argued against, that potentially his vision is inaccurate, but it feels that Zelensky wants to preserve Ukraine as a strong country going forward, no matter what. I hope that makes sense. Peter Winchuk. Are the Ukrainians building mines in factories to slow the orc advances, or are the landmines 100% coming from the Allies' stashes? Ukraine has been short on mines for a couple of years now. They've run out very fast of their mines, and they have been running short pretty much ever since. Recently, the United States finally agreed to send mines to Ukraine, and that's pretty much have been the biggest supporter of Ukraine since. But no, Ukraine is very, very short on mines, and currently they are running only what is being produced right now from their current factories, plus what is being supplied from the Allies. There is no more stocks. Ukraine does not have any more stocks of mines. Zero. It's empty. NG Swamp Fox. What oil price will effectively bring Putin's war machine to a halt? 30. It's like, okay, not just price, but the time frame. 30 for a year. Lou Gershing, why call it 200, 300? So it's a long story. It's I believe it's even like from Afghanistan. So, oh my God, there has been like a whole story. It's like with designation of cargo. So because they didn't want to report this, I think it was like, and I might be wrong, like double check me on this. So because like they didn't want to get the cargo from Afghanistan, so people know that it's the dead bodies that are coming back, so they designated as a cargo 200. And then from there, everything else kind of just got accepted. So cargo 200, I think. Like, let me Google it. Actually, let me actually Google this. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it was during the Soviet-Afghan War in 1979 to 89. It was used by a military. So there was the military directive. Transportation of bodies. The number 200 refers to the weight of a standard zinc coffin, 200 kilograms, including the body and packaging. Okay. So it's even easier. So cargo 200 is just like the standard weight of a dead body inside of a zinc coffin. And since then, so from that kind of it developed like if 200 is dead, then 300 is wounded, and then from that also developed like 500 is a AWOL. Yes. I love Russians, but only every 200. Oh my God. I have so many dead Russian puns. It's incredible. It's like you cannot find a good friend except in Russia because they're, laying. You cannot find a good friend laying on the road except in Russia because he's dead. Then there was my favorite type of Russians is the ones that I cannot see in the thermal vision scope, stuff like that. So yeah. So you can check like if the Russian is good or not, if his body heat is coming out or something like that. They translate really poorly to English. Cloud Gendrich, in a system such as Russian money is a fiction, it only exists for foreign trade. What will they be cutting first? Benefits of payments to soldiers. Yeah, soldiers. No, first civilians, then soldiers. Money is just a tool. Like money is a tool for Russia, and it has been a tool for a while now. Okay, give me a second, guys. Oh. All right. Ta-ta-ta. Yogi, how big of a role do you perceive that China is playing in supporting Russia? Economically, huge. Militarily, not so much. So China is not directly supporting Russia, but they're allowing a sale of everything that is not forbidden. So, and because China is a big factory, Russia can buy pretty much anything that they need to fight the war from China. But then again, like we in Europe are selling a lot of things to Russia ourselves. So before we start looking at China, we have a mirror to look into. Is Trump going to be good for Ukraine? I don't know. So far, it seems so, but we haven't seen any concrete action. Let's be very fair. So far, there has been little to no concrete actions on Trump. So far, what he's done for Ukraine is nothing. And to be honest, that's not the worst outcome. That is not the worst. It's like, that is not the worst outcome. So he hasn't been proactive. He hasn't been increasing help for Ukraine and so on. He's been putting a lot of statements, and he changed nothing except of cutting humanitarian aid for Ukraine. That's it. That's what's been Trump activity on Ukraine. So I am so far very agnostic to it. Handling over all of the frozen assets to Ukraine, would that trigger some sort of a breakthrough? So yes, but I would much rather prefer US take all of those frozen assets, all 300 billion of those, and get equipment for that amount to Ukraine. I think that would be much more beneficial. It's hard to give because not so many are legit. I don't know what this statement is for, so. Okay, oh, it's we're already close to the end. Okay, there's only a couple of questions left. That's great. Do you have Free Palestine says, do you not have a problem with Israel's 76-year ethnic cleansing and occupation of Palestine? Oh no, a biased question. Wrong channel. Wrong channel. I already said I have my opinions about Israel-Palestine conflict. I don't like Benjamin Netanyahu very much. I've been very vocal about this. I think Benjamin Netanyahu is awful. With the same aspect, I also think Israel fully can support, can defend themselves. Everything else, all of the nuance, I don't give a shit about. Right now, I care about Ukraine. Wrong channel. One Grail, has Georgie ever done a live with the Tochny crew? No, but I've joined some of their streams, and I've asked them, to at some point reach out to me so we can do a stream together. I would love to have actual people that know what they're talking about to talk about. It's like, have the Russians started pulling military resources that are defending their borders? Wait, we already read this question. That was a long time ago. Never mind. Danes will not think that American occupation is good. Frick, they see what Trump's do. Okay, sure. John Hoffman, brother, you do such an amazing work. Please keep going. We will not stop. As I said, I'm going to be running this channel until victory. I'm not a very good YouTuber. Not a very popular person, in a sense. Okay, I'm not going to complain about this anymore. I know you're already on that. But I've never thought about YouTubing as a career. So this is a means to an end. This is how we're supporting Ukraine, and it's working pretty well, and we continue doing so. Has the 155th Anov Kiev Brigades shown improvements? Yes, incredible improvements. Absolutely incredible. I always I need to make that fucking video. Like, it's been in my pipeline. I need to now rewrite the script because a lot more information changed, but the situation has been improving, and it has been improving dramatically. So let's just end with that. It's been really good. I'm really happy with what is happening in Ukrainian military recently. They're finally changing it. Just today, Zelensky came out with a statement that they are introducing the core system. So they're finally reintroducing army corps, which is superb. It's something that has been asked from the militaries for a while now. Don't you think that China is blocking North Korean soldiers operating in Ukrainian territory? No, I don't think so. I mean, can it be happening? Yeah, but it doesn't seem so. There has been no indications of that. Federico Zanoni has the... Oh, okay, that was the 155th. John, why all this whining about manpower, and how about girl power? Time to step up of the Stone Age and give all the people the same rules, rights and duties. Yes, my argument exactly. I think that mobilization of women should be on the table. I don't understand why President Zelensky doesn't want it, but he's a lot more conservative than I am. So, in my perspective, there is nothing wrong with mobilization of women. Like, the same rules apply. It's like, oh, if you have, like, kids, if you're, like, the only person in your family, of course you shouldn't be mobilized. But if there's a man that can take care of kids, sure. Elena, Ukraine's goal to go as much manless as possible using robots and drones, not more manpower in the form of meat attacks like Russia's doing. Ukraine already launched 100% robotic assaults. Do you agree? I've heard those statements. I haven't seen actions. So the problem of these actions, like, so Elena, is that there needs to be a competitive edge. Because so far, Ukraine is fielding about as much unmanned systems as Russia does. So that's the awful truth. So far, Ukraine gets no advantage. And if you get the same army, which is like, Ukraine has some unmanned vehicles and Russia has some unmanned vehicles, well then still, like, who has like more manpower is still going to be winning, is it not? So there needs to be qualitative shift, not quantitative. And so far, we haven't seen that. So far, the technologies that Ukraine has introduced have been relatively, I don't want to say, like, I want to say primitive, but not in an aspect of like that they are how do you say, that they are bad or they are simple, but in an aspect like a primitive, in that they're lacking complexity and multiplicative effect that Russia cannot reproduce. I guess, I hope it makes sense. Misaka Mikoto, how is Trump lowering global oil prices with the Saudi buddies going to help Ukraine bring down Russia's economy faster, and to what extent? It's a political action. So lowering down oil prices is going to speed up the downfall of the Russian economy. That's the simple thing. So Russia will get less money. So they will have to print more money. Printing more money creates more inflation. More inflation eats up more of the Russian economy. Misaka Mikoto, what are the chances of Trump involving himself in a personal pissing match against Putin to the point he will involve NATO directly against Russia? Well, that was the hope. That's the hope that Trump will get into the pissing match with Putin. Because Putin so far, as I said, like all of the people that are thinking that Putin is ready to negotiate and there's some kind of negotiate solution coming, I think you're just lying to yourself. I don't feel that this is something that really is happening. Putin is definitely want to engage in talks because he wants to facilitate less and less help for Ukraine, but he's not going to be negotiating in good faith. There has been zero indications of that. So people that is like, oh, Georgie, the peace is almost around the corner. Like Russia is about to sign some kind of a ceasefire agreement with Ukraine and so on. It's like, I don't know where you're taking that from. No. Putin is not going to negotiate in good faith. So, and the hope is that Trump will see that Putin is not negotiating in good faith, and that's going to be a big kind of like pissing competition, and that will benefit greatly to Ukraine. The problem is, and we, just before I go to the next one, Trump doesn't have to involve NATO because Ukraine can fully take Russia out if it would have resources. So, and the hope is that Trump will supply resources to Ukraine. And if resources are supplied, Ukraine can take out Russia on their own. The thing is like that. The expectation is that Putin might put a lot of resources into swaying Trump, into getting Trump into that different positions, and he already started doing that. He already started like licking his feet. He already started saying, "It's like, it's like, oh, you've been treating so badly that the election was stolen from you," and so on. Putin already started saying this. It's just a direct appeal. It doesn't mean what he thinks. He doesn't think that, but he knows how to appeal to Trump, and he wants to do that. So it's all going to depend on whether or not Trump is going to buy what Putin is selling. I'm going to skip the Israel question. As I said, wrong channel. As I said, I have my own opinion, personal opinions, but they are secondary to the point of this channel, which is support for Ukraine. That is what matters. My opinion don't matter. My personality doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. Shut the fuck up. Get out. Get the fuck out with your stuff. This is for Ukraine. I'm trying to get Ukraine. This is what matters. Ukraine matters. Not me, not my ego, not what I think about Israel, Palestine, nor what I think about Trump and so on. All of that doesn't matter. What matters is like Ukraine. Because we are right now in this civilizational conflict that's defining the state of the world that we're going to be living in. For me, this is also personal because my family is in Ukraine. And friends. So, sorry, not sorry, wrong channel. Get out. Jack848, how long do you think Russia will try to print their money? The chance may be low, but it might be possible. Wait, what? How long do you think Russia will try to printing their own money? The chance may be low, but it might be possible. How long you think Russia will try to printing own money? Question mark. The chance may be low, but it might be possible. I don't know. I don't know what you're asking. A wool clown blah. On the subject... Oh, no, Israel. No. You also fuck off. Jen Barnak. Wait, maybe it was... Well, no, on the subject of Israel... Sorry, I read Israel and I was already triggered. I reread the question. On the subject of Israel helping Ukraine. Their excuse for not helping Ukraine was that Russia was in Syria and that was risky. Gaza is gone. Now why no Israel aid? Netanyahu loves Putin. Yeah, Netanyahu loves Putin. Netanyahu is a big friend of Putin. So, but there is, as I said, in Israel, there is a lot of people that are also looking to support Ukraine. There is a lot of push on politicians to start supplying stuff to Ukraine. Like, for example, there has been an initiative to send some of that weapons that were captured from the, I believe, Hamas or some other parts that were belonging to Russia, and they want to send it to Ukraine. Besides that, Ukraine has been also in talks with the new government of Syria. So maybe there's going to be some cooperations with Syria, but right now we've seen some of the Russian diplomacy also flying into Syria. So potentially we will see that there is going to be some development in that area. So far, it's unclear how threatening modern Syria will be to Israel, because I believe Israel will want to have as much resources as they can. That would be just logical. William Parrish, thanks a lot for being you. Israel sending aid, I heard yesterday. That's what I said. Like, I've heard Israel sending aid, but I've heard this also for years before that. So there has been no proof of that. So far, Israel has not been very supportive of Ukraine, and specifically Netanyahu government has not been very supportive of Ukraine. So the fact that there are people in Israel that would like to support Ukraine, there are now quite vocal, it's not given. So far, there is nothing that has confirmed that there is good friendly relationship between Israel and Ukraine. George O'Neill. Hi, George. I am from New Jersey, I guess, and Jay, USA. Love your show. I'm 100% for Ukraine. Thanks, George. Appreciate it. Cornelis Zandbergen. Keep going. I share your views on quota. Question. What's the current balance on drones on the front and shells fired? I mean, Russia-Ukraine balance. Okay. So a lot of the balance of artillery has been muddied because we've now, like, a lot of the Russian artillery has been destroyed and silenced. Ukrainians have grown their artillery capacity. So right now it's about 1 to 2. So for every 2 artillery shells Russia fires, Ukraine can fire 1. Previously, this kind of ratio would allow Ukraine to advance on the Russian positions and actually push the Russians out previously. But we're now living in a lot more muddy scenario, because beyond that, we have what is the status of drones, right? Now, and I want people to understand this correctly. It doesn't mean that artillery is not important. It means that the whole equation became more complex. There is a lot more moving parts. So now, on just the artillery level, there is now a complex level of drones. So beyond drones, there is like, what is the density of drone strikes, the FPV drones on the battlefield on a specific front line? Because drones are incredible change of force, and they're very, very good at being a stopping force. So for any kind of offensives and so on, drones are very good to stopping those offensives. So that prevents a lot of the Ukrainian counteroffensives. And then thirdly, Russia has introduced a lot of the aviation bombs. Aviation bombs, they cannot be directly compared to the artillery because of their devastating power. An aviation bomb can take out a position that artillery would take days to take out. If there is a precise hit by the one Russian bomb, it's already good enough. But sometimes there might not be precise. Sometimes there might be flying all around, and they're dropping these bombs in wrong spot. And then there is zero bonus, because then it doesn't really matter. So there is a muddied sense of how much artillery Russia is using. So far, we see that the advantage is that much that it is allowing Russia to, on certain small parts of the front line, we're talking 1, 2, maybe 3 directions at most, to suppress Ukrainian resistance and allow the Russian infantry to penetrate Ukrainian positions. So it's not an overwhelming advantage, but it's also not something insignificant that Ukraine is able to completely counter or negate. So I understand this is not a satisfactory question. I just want to explain that we are a little bit more advanced in our timeline and a battlefield to just look at 2 numbers of artillery and see how, if this is like a telling metric. So the metric is just obsolete. Okay, we're wrapping up with the questions. I see not more are incoming. So I'll read 2 more questions, guys, so please stop posting. And I will read the super chats, and we're going to wrap it up. Oh, okay, it's actually going to be, okay, it's going to be 4 questions, but still fine. Maybe the money question is about printing money. It would collapse the ruble and send inflation up like a refinery. Yes, but Russia is already printing money. So what's the question about? I'm not completely sure. Russia is already printing money. Russia already started printing money. Russia is printing the money. That's the answer. It's in pretty big amounts. Russia is printing the money. That's why inflation is over 20%. Mitch Ashdown, any comments on Finland and Sweden arresting a couple of ships? Yes, I believe there is like 3 ships that are associated with the prospects of cutting another or damaging another cable between Latvia and Sweden. It's now investigating which of the ships is the one did it. I believe they arrested one of the ships. They are they were able to board another one, and then another ship just said fuck off and just went off further to Russia. So, I mean, what is happening is what I exactly said, that Russia will just continue doing if we don't respond. The countries did not really respond. Everyone took defensive stands. We didn't take any aggressive actions against Russia. Russia continued testing our patience. So, I mean, I was right. Mr. Kamikoda, Biden reportedly mentioned that he wants to avoid a regime change in Russia. Yes, that's why I say he sucks. How do we defeat Russia when NATO politicians are so interested in saving Russians from Ukrainian victory? We can't. We can't. That's the whole point. Without political will, and that's the whole point of my channel, without political will, we are bound to have weak-ass politicians. Oh, I know even what are we going to wrap up this stream today? Will Russian TV playing naked Melania Trump photos shoot impact Trump's natural stance in negotiations perspective? I don't think so. I don't know how much Trump thinks about Melania and so on. To be honest, that's a little bit too much digging, and it's like the same as guessing of like whether Putin is sick or not. So I think that's like a level of speculation at which I'm like, okay, this is beyond fantasy right now. We're now thinking about like, what is the brainwave of a Trump when he sees naked Melania? It's like, so let's wrap it up. I'll read the super chats. Thank you so much for the super chats. As always, I will try to remind you of our amazing fundraiser. Please participate in the fundraiser. It's very important because then I can share you the most awesome of the news. But I'm going to wrap up with the super chats, and then I'm going to show another video. So, Antonio Spios, thank you so much for $50. I really appreciate the support. It's necessary. I mean, now it's my job. So, well, yeah, now it's my job. So I need to probably do and chill out a bit better because I need to pay my bills at some point. John Nergod, hello community, Slava Ukraine. Thank you so much for 22 Norwegian kronas. Hellfire, thank you so much for gifted 10 memberships. I appreciate it. Hans Eriksson, nice to see you, buddy. Thank you so much for 200 Swedish kronas. Slava Ukraini, my friend. Heroim Slava to you. Benjamin V, thank you so much for 5 gifted memberships. I really appreciate it. And Aussie, it's great that you're still a member even after 21 months. Russia has no balls. Trust in the Ukrainian armed forces. Thanks, Georgies. Appreciate it so much, Aussie. It's great that you are here. Okay, I have a video that we should watch. So, you know what I'm talking about. Yes, so let me open my Blue Sky. So, if you didn't know, so recently there was this Davos World Economic Forum conference, and they talked a lot in Davos, and they had a lot of different panels. And I've listened to a lot of these panels. It's been quite exciting. I think maybe I should have actually streamed that and so on, but I was sick when I was listening to them, and that's the only thing I could do. But Sergey here, he noted that this old diplomat, his name was Wolfgang, I believe. Oh my God, what was his name? Was it Wolfgang Ischinger? I believe. Was it here? Is it Wolfgang Ischinger? Let me double check. Wolfgang Ischinger. Yes. So Wolfgang Ischinger, and he was the German diplomat who served as a chairman of the Munich Security Conference from 2008 to 2012. So a German guy, head of the Munich Security Conference from 2008 to 2012. So this is the guy basically that was sort of a running perspective on defense inside of Europe. And a lot of part of my channel is specifically talking about how bad our mentality is. That we are being killed because we're such a cocks and we have defeatist mentality and we don't know what we're talking about, that we cannot just solve our own shit. So let's listen to this guy because he's very representative of a lot of the politician. Because I'm a guy on YouTube, right? I'm just like nobody. But this guy is like a guy with credentials, ahead of the Munich Security Conference. I mean, whoa, you know, incredible stuff here. And he's like from 2008, 2014 was like 6 years. Wow. So a guy with like big, I don't know, some kind of credentials. So let's listen what the guy with credentials has to say.
My solution.
Oh shit. Oh, I didn't even notice. Sorry, guys. Was it playing? Was the audio playing already? Oh shit.
Would be
my headphones were
troops
not
from
on.
India. If you, as a German, I would say troops from China. Putin is not going to start a war against Chinese troops on the Ukrainian side. Troops from Indonesia, troops from Brazil, and of course maybe some European troops, but not dividing NATO. We should always honor the principle of in together, out together, if we want to be together in NATO. If we want to be divisive, the idea of sending Europeans into Ukraine and keeping the Americans out is a recipe for disaster. Our European soldiers, what are they supposed to do?
So his argument is that we need to keep NATO together. We cannot just go as Europeans alone and solve our own shit, and we cannot just go and protect Ukraine. Like, if
we should always honor the principle.
Yeah, if essentially his argument is like, imagine if Russia attacks our troops that are stationed in Ukraine as peacekeepers.
Do exactly if at some point Russia starts aggressing again. If America is not also on the ground there in Ukraine.
So in his brain, again, the security conference lead, the guy with fucking credentials, he's like, well, if we deploy our troops to secure peace in Ukraine and then Russia attacks, what are we doing? What are we going to do? And my answer, a YouTuber no name, is fucking fight. Yes, you fucking fight. But this guy, it's not even crossing his mind. It's not even appearing as a thought in his brain state that you can resist. You don't have to fall over when the Russians attack. This is the biggest problem. This is why we are in this shit. When we're talking, it's not about Ukraine, it's not about corruption, it's not about NATO, it's not about whatever, it's not about whatever Putin says, it's not about Trump, it's not about anything ever. Because everything can be solved if we stop thinking like this dipshit right here. Because unfortunately, he's still very much representative of a lot of the political segment that we have in Europe. It's like, if Russia suddenly attacks, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? It's like, and you look at him, it's like, oh my, but he's old, it doesn't matter. You know how many young people think the same? Like, you know how many young people think it's like, ooh, war, icky, weapons, I don't want to touch that. Countless. There is so much shit in our brains because of the guys like this and the politics that they've been putting together for the last decades. And I'm really hoping that with this community, at least like the small part of the internet we are cleaning out, But my answer is, if Russia tries to attack, firstly, why you let her? And secondly, then you fucking destroy them. I love you guys. Slava Ukraini, and I'll see you next time.